Hey everyone, welcome to my new video. I know I just uploaded a video, I think like 2 days ago or a day ago. That was a practice role play for family therapy, so I had to download it to YouTube in order to post it for my class, and I couldn't really make it private, so I just figured, you know what, why not? I can put it on YouTube and you guys can watch it and see that I still have a lot to learn. And, it never hurts to see somebody in the growing process. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video and learned something from it. Even if you're like, yeah, I would never do that, it still taught you what you didn't want to do. So, anyways, yes, these are my new glasses. This is what happens when you work on a computer all day and then come home and have to work on a computer all night doing schoolwork. So yeah, it's a mild prescription, but nonetheless. So anyways, this is just kind of like an update on me essentially video. It really doesn't have like a straight direction. This semester I'm taking two classes. I'm taking human sexuality and family and couples therapy. The video that you guys saw that I uploaded, that was the role play, was for my family and couples therapy. So it has been completely draining. And I don't know if you guys caught in the last video, I was super sick. I'm still getting over it. So if I sound like really nasally or something more than usual, then really that's what it is, me just getting over this sickness. And I never get sick. So I kind of wanted to talk about what I tend to bring up here and there. Self-care. Self-preservation in any program or just in life is key. And let me tell you, I have been working and burning the candle at both sticks or both sides, and my body, excuse me, my body had shut down last Tuesday. I woke up and my whole body was aching, and I could barely even hold my phone in order to call off from work. Like my whole body, including my fingertips, were just like aching. So I went to the doctor the next day, and she had prescribed like a Z-Pack, but I actually waited it out a couple of days so I didn't have to take the antibiotic because I really didn't want to. And so it's pretty much cleared up minus this small amount of drainage. So anyways, what caused my besides my normal stress, for my body to shut down? Well, one, I am doubling up, and I have one professor that she just like petty grader is she. I've never heard of a professor giving somebody a 29.8 out of 30. I was just like, you know what? Like, there's battles that you should fight in school, but really that's not one. And if anything, that just shows negatively on her, not on me, because who takes off like 0.2 points? Like, what is that? Like, girl, if you don't get all the way out of here with that BS, yeah. So just like taking two classes that are very intense, like the one class, like a family and couples therapy, they changed the entire syllabus at the last minute. Like it's still being changed as we're in this course, which seems to be the norm for this school. And at first it was supposed to be like a group project throughout the entire course. Oh no, it changed. Two papers due per week plus a discussion post. Then you have to consider I'm in another class. So that was another paper and a discussion post. So basically I was doing 3 papers in 1 week and 2 discussion posts. Now, if you guys are familiar with discussion posts and online learning, you know that the discussion post, if you're trying to get your full little petty points, is basically like a small mini paper. On average, it equates to about a page, not double spaced. So scholarly references, and then you have to reply to other people on a certain timeline, and you have to make sure that you log in 3 times a week to make sure that you're showing that you're being interactive with your peers, yada, yada, yada. snooze fest. And so, with the human sexuality class, I do feel like, although I'm not a fan of the professor, I do feel like I'm learning a lot because there are a lot of sexual orientation and gender identities I was completely unaware of. Like, you guys might be aware of this. I had semi heard about it, but pansexuals and demisexuals and just a whole slew of different sexualities. And then you have, cisgender, which most people should be aware of that. But all kinds of different trans identities, non-identities, identities in question. Like, there are so many things that I can admit I was completely ignorant to until I took this class and started doing research, that I was like, wow, if I had these type of clients come into my practice or into the clinic I was working, I mean, I would definitely need some help, because although you can research as much as you want, a lot of these identities have not always been recognized by the mental health organization. They've been kind of dismissed or not talked about. Or if they have been talked about, they've been talked about as an illness, as opposed to helping the person deal with their identity, accepting who they are, helping family members accept who they are as well, and working through that. Instead, you come across a lot of like conversion therapy, or as some people call repair therapy, where they're basically trying to change the person from wanting to identify as a certain sexual or gender orientation or identity. And so that's very sad, because it creates a lot of depression, suicide ideologies. It creates a lot of anxiety and a lot of distrust, not only their family members, but the mental health industry as a whole. So thankfully, conversion therapy, where people are trying to force people that identify in the LGBTQ and ongoing alphabet, as a different gender or sexual orientation, they're trying to convert them. And a lot of it is based on religious values, demographics of where they live, cultural influences, social influences have created a lot of these really negative and really not recognized anymore by the American Psychology Association, or it never was. There was one where, there are people, I'm doing my paper on, or no, I didn't do my paper. I did a discussion post on asexuals. So asexuals are individuals who really do not have like a sexual drive to have sex with anyone, their partner, or for that matter, it's just the lack of the feelings associated with it. Like, they cannot just have casual sex with somebody. They have to really be in love with the person, be involved with them, like have to connect with them on a much deeper basis than you think you probably thought you were connecting with the person that you're sleeping with or had slept with. It is something along the lines of, they just really do not have that drive unless somebody truly triggers it outside of some type of hormonal influx or some type of sexual innuendo that happens that piques their interest. Like that's just not going to occur. So I had heard or had researched, there was like forced rape therapy. I'm like, first of all, that is not even like, a therapy should not even be associated with rape. Like, unless you're talking about therapy for rape victims. So it was basically this type of air quote therapy that was supposed to like rape people and force them to want to have a sexual need and desire. I'm like, that's going to do the complete opposite. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, people in this world really are sick. So I do have to say that this human sexuality class has opened my eyes to a world I thought I knew about, but really There's no way unless you identify as some of these orientations, because I can guarantee you that even in the LGBTQ community, that they do not know all of the sexual orientations and gender identities. Like pansexuals, they really, from the LGBT community, they do not get as much support. There's several articles on it and how it actually creates a lot of depression, because here is a community that people that identify differently than the heterosexual community are supposed to be more accepting. And here they are saying, oh, pansexual, you're just attracted to anything that the wind blows. Are you attracted to the kitchen sink? Are you attracted to your couch? Like, just really nasty, negative things that I've read on different articles that have really taken a look at how even the LGBT community can be very biased towards people that are supposed to be within their own community. So just reading things like that has really opened my eyes. I know there's a bias in that community with people of color, but never did I think there was a bias against like certain sexual orientations or gender identities, although I have heard and have witnessed, unfortunately, that transgendered individuals really are not completely accepted, especially transgendered individuals of color. So I really think that there needs to be a lot of research done on that, because the suicide and homicide rates that happen in these demographics is extremely high. And this is just kind of on a personal note. So and this is so weird, because I was going to do this video and I had thought about it earlier in the day and I wasn't really sure how it was going to go, but I guess this is kind of where it's going. So this morning I come in and like at work, I had got an IM from this guy. And, you know, him and I talk, not like talk like that, but we're just coworkers, you know. And he's like, says this really sick joke that's like, oh, there's a joke going around saying that Bruce Jenner molested Caitlyn Jenner, or something like really just transphobic. And it really pissed me off, because this guy was like, yeah, I've tried to tell people that you're more accepting of people wanting to say that they're born a man but now a woman, or vice versa, but they won't accept like if a person that's of one color like white says that they feel that they really should be black. And I was like, you really are just so ignorant. But instead of saying that, I really use the scientific research that I research and knew from historical knowledge to educate him, to let him know, well, first of all, there are different hormones within the brain that can have people born biologically and physically one way, but really their brain and their hormones are telling them they are a different gender. Like, you can't dismiss science, and you can't dismiss somebody saying like there are children that don't really even know anything about sexuality, let alone gender identity, to the point that like adults make it out to be, that are identifying with the opposite of what their birth certificates say. So you can't tell me that these are individuals that are being conditioned to be a certain gender. Like, I just am not going to believe it, and I'm not going to make jokes about it, because the suicide rates are extremely high. And I'm sorry, I'm getting like so worked up, because this guy really irritated me, because he tries to come off like he's like so intellectually in tune with everything, and I'm just like, dude, no, you're not. First of all, like, you're just, the stuff that you say is just like really off the wall, and he thinks like, oh, I have this epiphany, so therefore I must know. And it's like, no, you're just thinking you know everything and then spitting out the first thing that comes out of your mouth. Like, it's just insane. And so I educated him, and I said, and on the race issue, even within my own family, there are people that are born and both their parents are black, but visually they appear to be white. And I'm not talking about albinos. I'm talking about like blonde hair, freckles, the whole nines. But you have to think, like, genetics, it's a bitch. Like, it's a bitch. Like, you could have people that have those features from like 3, 4 generations, and guess what? Boom, here they are in this generation. I mean, it's insane, especially if on both parents' sides that's in their genetic historical makeup. There's a possibility. I mean, it's rare, but it does happen. Like, it happens. Like, I know people personally, and they have biracial children. And I'm not talking about like previous, what I was saying is biracial, but there are people that are biracial children, and they do not look like they have an ounce of melanin in them whatsoever. So for him to say there's people that think that they're black, but really they're white, I'm like, first of all, you have to look at who are their parents. What's their biological makeup? And so he was like, well, what about the recessive and the non-recessive genes? I said, well, clearly melanin is not going, it's always going to supersede anybody that is, white, obviously. I mean, like, come on, it's a dominant gene. And so it's just like the level of ignorance that people have. And he's like, oh, well, that's why you're going to be such a great psychiatrist. I was like, well, actually, psychologist, but thank you. Like, get your whole life. So anyways, that just kind of irritated the shit out of me, for lack of better words. And so, anyways, so let me go back, because I kind of went on a tangent as to why I'm sounding like this. So I have been juggling, working full time, doing school full time. Oh, and doubling up. Oh, and what set me off is that I was dating this guy, and on paper, oh, he was just like everything, right? Yeah, total douchebag. And the way he acted in the beginning, like they typically do when you have reeled in a douchebag, because I'm not going to say all guys are that, but I'm just saying, like, when you accidentally on your fishing hook reel in a douchebag, they put on a good front. Like, he on paper was just like all put together, like extremely established, had his own house, had his own, like, everything, traveled, well traveled, lived overseas for a while. Just, everything on paper you would think. And in person, very much like tended to my needs, made sure like he would cook for me, he would clean up after me, not as though I'm like a dirty person, but he was like super OCD cleaning, and I'm not like using OCD very lightly. Like, I saw this man take a Lysol wipe and wipe off his patio that has no furniture. It's a brand new house, and I have no idea what he was wiping. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, like super OCD to the point where I was like, dang, are you like trying to like wipe away my DNA? Because I would use the guest bathroom, and then next thing you know, he's like in there cleaning the bathroom, and I'm like, what? Like, you're so weird. So anyways, I'm a super, like, even though I complain on this channel, like in real life, I really, like, a lot of people come to me and like we he and kiki, like, I really am a fun person. I'm a very like, I won't say over the top person, but I'm just the type of person, like, if I'm in the middle of cooking, like, I'm gonna bust out and start dancing from a random song that's just like came into my head. Like, I'm one of those people that makes jokes with people. As long as you don't cross me the wrong way, like, I don't have an issue with you. Like, life is way too short, and I like to do fun shit. Like, how many people do you know, like, skydive? And I didn't get to skydive this year, and it's October 1, and I usually do it every October 1, but October 1 was on a Monday. But last Friday I went to Disney World and did trick-or-treating, and I got like over 18 pounds, well, to be exact, 18.2 pounds of candy and trick-or-treating. But don't worry, it's not for me. I was on a mission, because at the end of this month, I go to the local Y, and I do what's called trunk or treat. So it's like you have like decorations and stuff out of your trunk, and then you hand out candy to little trick-or-treaters. So Yeah, it's not for me to eat. It's so that I didn't have to like, go and buy candy because I already bought the expensive tickets to Disney and they was giving the candy out. So why not take advantage? So anyways, and I always try and volunteer. Like at the end of this month, wherever you're at, October is super huge, especially October 20th for charity events and walks. So the breast cancer walk, the heart association walk, the human trafficking walk, the suicide walk, like get out, look it up. I'm sure it's in your area. I'm that type of person. So the person that I was dating, I would try and invite them to do stuff like this. And they were just like, no, I'm busy. Like he is a certified workaholic. It's a good thing to have a man that works. Check. Because, not all people work and, there could be reasons why, but then there are some people that just don't think they have to work and think that they should still like have a chance. And so he told me he was a workaholic. He told me he was not really communicative over the phone, blah, blah, blah. I get that. So I figure like you're in your 40s, you know what type of person you are. You told me who you were up front somewhat. And I figured that, if you know that you're a workaholic, but you're not really good at texting and communication on the phone, that means you would make more of an effort when you have free time to see your girlfriend. No. So the first like 2 months were amazing. Like literally he would like cook me brunch, surprise me with like jet skiing, or we went to Universal, or going for hikes, going to the beach, just chilling, going to the movies. Like, I would want to take a bath. He would light candles, like just the whole nine. And I'm like, wow, like this guy is amazing. Like, going from like a really horrible relationship that I stopped dating for like 3.5 years because I was just so traumatized by the like emotional manipulation that I went through. I really was like, wow, like I don't have to keep dating. This might be the one. Like I was to the point where, and I know it's like, what? Like I was just like, this could be the guy. I was like looking at rings, and I never have done that with anybody. And I've dated quite a few people. I've never done that before. And I was like all into it because he put up like the best front ever. Well, just last month, like something has completely changed with him. Every time, like, so what are you doing? He's like, oh, I have to work late. Like, so at one point I was just like, you know what? I just don't feel like it's working out because you never make time to see me. You seem like every time I text you, I'm bothering you. You never answer my calls when I call you. And you're just not making an effort. Like if you're so busy, then I know I'm busy, but I know I have free times, and I know he has free times too, because I know his schedule for the most part. And yes, he does travel, but when he would travel, like I would know somewhat in advance when he would travel. But like this last time he traveled, I didn't even know until he sent me a picture of him in the airport, and I was like, wait, what? And just like being very distant towards me, and I'm like, okay, I haven't done anything to this guy. Like literally the last time I saw him, we were going to the movies and we were in like the Halloween store because, it's October and I love Halloween. And he just like, we were like all chill laughing at the stupid costumes. And so I went like a couple aisles over just to like check out some more costumes. Next thing you know, I'm like looking around the whole store, like, where did he go? Where did he go? And so I text him while I'm standing outside the store because I'm like, I've done walked the whole store and it's not that big. And I'm like, okay, where is he? And then he comes with this stupid freaking goofy look on his face. And he's like, oh, I went to the next store and bought some stuff. So you went to a whole different store and you went and bought some clothes. You didn't bother to tell me. And then you're looking at me like I'm crazy for having an attitude that you left me in a store, didn't tell me where you were going, and then went shopping like you full blown have a receipt and a bag and some clothes. Okay, so yeah, I was super irritated with that because I'm like, if you're out with somebody, let them know where you're going. Like, it's not like I'm a baby, like, hold my hand, I need like a teddy bear backpack so that we don't part. But like, if we're shopping together, that would be like us at Walmart. And like, next thing you know, I'm like, okay, up and down every single aisle. And I'm like, where are you at? He's like, oh yeah, I just went over to Target for a little bit. So you didn't think that that you were going to tell me? Like, where you were going. Like, you don't have to check in with me with an adult, but that's just common courtesy. Like, who does that? And so it's like, ever since like that interaction, like even before then, it was like, I felt like I was always begging him to see him. And I'm like, I'm not the type of person that begs somebody to have attention. Like, girls, you should not chase a guy. Like, I don't care what type of feminist stuff is out there. Yeah, you don't need a guy, but if you're dating somebody, there's just certain protocols that I feel like, as a somewhat traditionalist, that people should follow. And leaving somebody in a store and not telling them and going on a full, like, you went and bought like a whole freaking outfit. Like, I was walking around that store for like 10 to 15 minutes, like, just like, okay, where is this person? Because if you've ever been in those like crazy Halloween stores, like, it's like kind of warehousey, so everything's chopped up like super weird and you can't really see the entire store like you would another store in the mall. So anyways, yeah. So then ever since then, I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, he'll always answer, what are you doing? But then he never initiates to be like, oh, well, I want to see you. So anytime, like, well, I know you're going to be super exhausted. I could come over on Friday, like I would sometimes do, and spend the weekend. He's like, and now this would be me asking on like Sunday or Monday. Oh, by Friday, I'll be exhausted. It hasn't even come. How do you know? And then I was like, okay, well, I can like come over on like Saturday or Sunday and I can just cook. That way we don't have to worry about going out. Cause I'd be like, well, let's just go to like a quick dinner or something like that. And he would just shoot it down. Like every time I would say, let's do something, he would shoot it down. So this last weekend, I was like, oh, when are you free this weekend? And he's like, I work late the entire weekend. But yet he stays texting me stupid IG links, and I have Instagram. He claims he doesn't have Instagram. Yeah, right. And yet I've told him several times, please stop sending me Instagram links. It's very spammy. I already have IG. Half the stuff you send me, I already see. And you already told me this is stuff that your friends send you. So please don't forward stuff to me that your friends send me unless you want me to start dating your friends. Maybe they're better communicators. But if they're sending you links all day, probably not. And so the relationship was just like very draining. He's just very non-responsive, very arrogant. He's a Capricorn, so I don't know if that speaks to any of you. But all I know is that what I read up, he is the stereotypical male Capricorn, and I'm a Taurus. We're supposed to be compatible, but then I read something the other day and yes, I am into horoscope signs, judge away, where it was like, oh, the love between you two, which there was like no love, like it was a new relationship, but it's like fiery and hot, but then it fizzles out quickly. I'm like, damn, like in a few months, okay, well, fizzle is gone. And I'm sure in his little mind, he thinks we're still together because he'll text me like a link to something, but I'm not responding because first of all, he said when I said, I think we should separate, he's like, yeah, because I just don't feel like we're compatible. Meanwhile, this is the guy that the first date was like, you're so amazing. Our chemistry is so great. I don't want you to date anybody else. Let's be monogamous. I only want to date you. I want you to only date me. Like, this is so amazing. Like, 2 months, like, straight. Like, this is so amazing. And then the past few months after that has been shithole. Like, literally swimming in dumpster juice. And so, he's like, he wanted the relationship, and I guess that should have been my red flag. Like, don't be so quick to sign on to a relationship when you really don't know somebody. But I know a lot of girls, they struggle and they're like, I don't know where I stand. Like, is this him just like taking advantage of me? Like, what's our title? What's my label? And I know, and I've been in that position. So maybe that could be why I was so quick to agree, because I just didn't want to be in that weird like limbo where it's like, what are we? What aren't we? Like, are we together? Are we not together? Can we date other people, not date other people? Like, what are you doing? Like, I just didn't want that because I had that for so many years previously that I just didn't want that stressor. Well, let me tell you something. People get super comfortable super quick, and he got super comfortable, and I don't even see why. And he's just very antisocial. And to say that I'm a negative person, he doesn't think we're compatible. Now, mind you, this is after I had said that I think that we should go our separate ways. All of a sudden, I'm a negative person, non-compatible, and I complain about people too much. I'm like, I don't even talk to you about other people. Like, really, I don't, because me and my girlfriends, they're like, Camille, if you ever have to complain, especially if it's a new relationship, just call us and complain to us. Do not complain to him. So I know I've never complained to this man. Like, he couldn't even name like 3 people in my life. Like, that's how much I'm like, yeah, I don't complain about people, first of all. And even people that know me, they're like, no, you don't complain about people, and you're definitely not a negative person. Like, people are like, I would never even assign that to your personality, like, at all. Like, yeah, we all have stressors and we speak on it, but you're not like a complainer. Like, some people, they just complain about everything. That's just not me. Sorry, I'm getting like even more nasally as I talk. Sorry about that, nostrils right there. So anyways, so I pretty much have dissolved the relationship. Whether he thinks we're in a relationship still or not, I guess he'll have to figure that out, because like, I pretty much said everything I had to say. I said, I don't know who hurt you in your past, but it wasn't me. And I say, you're treating me very nasty. It was almost like, not almost, it was like the nicer I was to him, the nastier he was to me. And that was just really taking its toll on me emotionally, because I'm not going to say like a super sensitive person, but like, you know, I can take criticism, but if it's warranted, I can't take attacks, especially when all I'm trying to do is care about somebody. Like, I used to be like, babe, take a break. You're working too much. I care about you. I don't want you to like drop dead at like 42 because you're 40 years old. And like, people literally drop dead from like heart attacks and brain aneurysms because they put too much into their work. And like, really, life is not about just working. Like, you're supposed to enjoy it. And it was like, every time I was like, just take a break. Like, just take a break. Like, you live close to the beach, just like walk out on a beach, like take a break. It's like he would get angrier and angrier. And it's like, I understand with workaholics, like clinically like workaholics, that, you know, they don't like to hear that because it's criticism, but it really was coming from like the best place. It really was not coming from like some malicious place. And I wasn't even saying like, take a break and come see me. Like, I wasn't that type of girlfriend. I was just like, you should really like just get up from your laptop, and I need to take my own advice and take a break. But him like attacking me like that and saying you're just a negative person and, you know, we're just not compatible. And yeah, you're right. We're not, because I'm not a negative person. And never once have I ever said anything nasty to demonize his character. And I just think because I waited so long to get in a relationship and this happened, I think it just emotionally like drained me. Yeah, I couldn't take it. And so I went and talked to my doctor, and I just kind of like told her what's going on. She's like, yeah, it's like a lot of stress. You have a lot going on between work and school, and then this extra stressor with this relationship. Like, either it's going to work or it's not. And I've just like concluded it's not. I can't deal with somebody that emotionally manipulates me, because I feel like he just gets off on rejecting me trying to see him. And he's like, no, I'm busy. No, I'll probably be exhausted. No, I'm watching football. And it's like, if you don't want to be with somebody, just say it. But meanwhile, I was like, after the whole like fight where it was like we broke up but really didn't break up, I'm sure everybody all knows that. It's like we were still talking, like texting back and forth and whatnot. And so it wasn't that we actually like broke up. It was just like in the heat in the moment where you're like, I'm done. Well, I'm done too. You know, it was one of those. And so it's like he's still trying to like punish me or something. Well, guess what, honey? I am a full-blown adult, and so are you. And don't play games with people. Like, if you're out there and you're dating somebody and you know you're emotionally manipulating people, look at yourself. Like, why are you doing that? And what are you gaining from it? Like, are you doing it because you get off on it? Does it give you some type of ego boost or a high? Like, don't do that to people. Just don't, because it's very nasty spirited. And people like that, I don't have time for. And if I could warn every female that interacts with any of my exes, but him especially, because he literally puts on the most amazing front. I could, like, when I first started dating him, I could not have seen this a mile away. Like, he literally, when I'm like, do you miss me? He used to be like, yes, I miss your beautiful face. Like, we know guys and even girls say what they want to say in the beginning. Like, everything's sunshine and roses, blah, blah, blah. But our relationship wasn't even that long, and he already had flipped the script on me. And so, like, this past weekend, I was like, do you miss me? And he wouldn't even answer. Like, he would just, like, send a link to some IG that had nothing to do with anything. And it's just, like, stuff like that where it's like, why are you just being nasty? Like, you're just so nasty. Sorry. I kind of just, like, yeah. So anyways, yeah. Don't let people drain you. Take breaks for self-care. Don't take it as a criticism if somebody says that to you. Because if you don't, you'll end up like me where your whole body just shuts down. I'm about to take some medicine because, like, this is just me getting worked up is like just dredging it back up. But yeah, just really take care of yourself and put yourself first. I said I would not date again because I did not want to go through the emotional roller coaster, because dating is very exhausting. It's very depleting, especially when you're dealing with the wrong person. Lesson learned, don't always get comfortable with who somebody appears to be in the beginning. Yeah, I guess that kind of goes to my other class, couples and family therapy. If we were in couples therapy, if he would go, which he's not even worth going with because, like, the relationship was so new, like, I'm not that vested. He is very, like, non-compliant on seeing other people's viewpoints because he, as he stated, is basically the perfect specimen. Like, I can laugh about it now because I'm just like, there are people out in this world that exist like this. It's amazing. It is amazing. So anyways, that is my update. Thank you for all my subscribers. I appreciate you very, very much. And I'm so glad that you listen to my rants and you don't judge me. Because I'm human. I'm human just like you guys, and I go through shit. And I think telling you a little bit about just like my personal things that are going on that do play a part, and it kind of intertwines with my schooling, I think is very important, because I think a lot of times, especially when I was in my undergrad in business, I was like, okay, but how can I apply this to the real world? And a lot of times in this relationship, the stuff I was learning about in couples and family therapy, I'm not even gonna lie, I was trying to apply some of those without him knowing it, just to, like, try and really make it work, because who he showed me in the beginning is who I really liked, and if I could pocket that person, it would be amazing. But it is what it is. I wish I could, like, put his picture and blast him, but I ain't gonna be petty because I ain't that type of person. But all I'm saying is, if somebody acts like they have a good friend, run. Nah, I'm kidding. Just a little bit. But yeah, so like, subscribe, share the video, leave your comments. Yeah, the comments on this one I hope are nice. But anyways, bye guys.